Mr. Rock's new album, Cocky. The thing called Pictures and Midnight Train to Memphis. This is yet another cut called You Never Met a Mother Quite Like Me. Another kid.
I've been on the cover of the Rolling Stone. I met the president when I was half stoned. I've been so high, I've gotten confused. I've been beat down, broken, used. I drank with Hank, talked blues with Billy, rocked with Ron, sang with Shotgun Billy. Went from small-time Billy to big-time Bobby, from 3-day-old chili to sake with wasabi. I'm home. You never met a mother quite like me, not like me, not like me, hey, like me. No more being poor, drink specials at winners, or being ignored by the think straight sinners. I used to smoke printers while my mom's made dinner. Now I smoke bombs and rock with Leonard Skinner. No beginners here, I'm a seasoned vet, educated on jazz by my man I'm met. Heard again, my friend, I've been the world and back, but I'm a Michigan boy, can you feel that? And I'm home. You never met a mother quite like me, not like me, not like me, hey, like me.
I think so, I get the idea, right, Chuck?
I believe I do.
I do. You guys like that better?
Much better, although I could do without that little harmony thing they do that makes them sound like the Osmonds or something, but other than that,
Yeah. Lou?
I can dance to it, man.
It's better.
Yeah.
It's adequate.
Yeah.
It's all right.
So-
It's not it's no earth-shattering
No.
piece of music. I'm not gonna go out and buy it. Yeah.
Here's an America Online instant message to the I-Man. How interesting that Senator Lieberman is so concerned about our troops 1 year after trying to invalidate their votes in Florida.
Oh.
Ooh, man.
What a two-faced hypocrite.
Ouch.
That's a little ugly for our friend Senator Lieberman.
That's rough.
You're ugly and your mother dresses you funny, okay? Our favorite I-Man reporter, war reporter, Tom Aspel, seems to have been MIA since his great reports on the celebrations of Northern Alliance troops. Too funny for MSNBC reporting, or not as photogenic as Ashleigh?
Well, that's for sure.
There you go.
And some more vile messages from these morons. Stop sending them to me. I do want to remind you that the big sale's going on, first sale of 2002 at the Auto Body Express. Everything in stock, 30% off. AutoBodyExpress.com on the internet, or call them at 1-800-272-1957. Time for World National News. And here with that, it's Chuck McCoy. Good morning, Chuck.
Morning, I-Man. Among the top stories of this hour, talks are said to have reached a crucial stage as negotiators try to orchestrate the surrender.
Quite difficult for me, but I think it's going to be okay in a couple of days when you get used to it. But right now, it's very difficult.
In Britain, which is one of the 3 EU countries not adopting the new currency, politicians claim attitudes toward replacing the pound are changing, though somewhat. But Europe Minister Peter Hain insists the final decision's got to be left to the general public.
There's got to be a referendum because that's a big decision as to whether Britain exchanges its own currency, sterling, for joining the greatest strength of the euro. And that's a separate matter which we will decide in due course.
Sweden and Denmark are the other 2 countries that decided not to convert to the euro. Thousands of firefighters are continuing to battle the bushfires, which are threatening Sydney, Australia. Flames are almost ringing the city, causing a mass evacuation of about 5,000 people so far, including Fred Baxter of New South Wales, who says he barely made it out of his place in time.
The fire tenders were coming down at the back of our place, which is all bush. and very thick stuff it was. And by the time we got in the car and left, it was starting to come up over the tops of the trees.
Dry weather hampering the efforts to put out the flames, but this morning reports are many of the fires down under are finally under control. Today's message for 64,000 state workers in South Carolina is simple, and that is to stay home.
Nutty mates.
The governor is calling out hundreds of National Guard members to help motorists stranded by a severe winter storm. The storm has dumped several inches of snow from Louisiana to Virginia, causing hundreds of accidents, at least 4 traffic deaths, and about 30,000 utility customers in South Carolina. No power because of sleet and freezing rain bringing the lines down.
And they got a guy getting ready to go on MSNBC who's got bags under his eyes so he can pack his clothes in.
Who says I
man,
do?
what a rough-looking dude. Jesus, God.
I don't
Just
know.
about the single most unhealthy, out-of-shape-looking weasel on the...
Haven't we had enough of that all morning here?
honest to God, I mean, this guy is really just in awful shape. Ugh.
You sure you're not looking at a tape of the show from this morning?
What was that? Oh, God.
There are 400,000 words in the English language, and there are 7 of them you can't say on television. What a ratio that is. 399,993 to 7. They must really be bad. You know the 7, don't you, that you can't say on television? Huh?
Imus in the morning.
As a country, we like to travel. We're a people with happy feet. We don't like staying put for very long. We're not...
Well, on the Imus in the Morning program, our old friend Scott Muni. Scotzo.
Over the years, there's been some great champions of rock and roll. Not just the bands, but writers, whose illuminating insights on and general enthusiasm for the music they commented upon helped to keep the flame alive. People like Ben Fong Torres at Rolling Stone and Lester Bangs at Cream. Then there are those of us in radio who gave airplay to the songs we thought deserved to be hits. Guys like Cousin Brucey, Murray the K, and me. Then there are those influential figures who, despite their complete lack of musical taste, insist on foisting their questionable sensibilities upon their loyal, unsuspecting public. Case in point, the I-Man. He may have started out as a top 40 DJ, but he's not exactly the Alan Freed of the new millennium. Recently, Imus subjected his listening audience to a pair of cuts off the new Kid Rock CD. 2 songs that he raved about as if they were off the flip side of the Abbey Road album. 2 songs which, in his right-hand man's opinion, the classically trained jazz pianist Charles McCord, weren't quite as aesthetic to the ear as the incessant whine constantly heard by sufferers of chronic tinnitus. You couldn't say much about these 2 songs, other than they lack the musical integrity of both Billy Don't Be a Hero and Seasons in the Sun. If you could put these 2 songs on a tape loop and play them on Afghanistan radio 24/7, you'd get Osama bin Laden to surrender like Manuel Noriega. And yet they were number 1 with a bullet on the I-Man's hit parade. Which is not surprising, especially when you consider this is the same guy who touted those hootenanny hoes, the Dixie Chicks, as the greatest thing since Patsy Cline. And a man who, despite his image as a wild and woolly Caucasian cowboy, insists on carjacking the hip-hop bandwagon, promoting the likes of Eminem and Suge Knight. Getting jiggy with it. A generational anomaly which is symbolically akin to your great-grandfather wearing a Nehru jacket and bell-bottoms to your high school graduation, but twice as embarrassing. One thing he is right about is his assessment of Sheryl Crow on the Kid Rock record. Although he's missing the point when he complains about her voice, she's not hired because she sings. She's hired because she hums. Imus knows she sucks. I just don't think he's aware that she does in every sense of the word. In light of the fact that the days of the cash-filled paper bag in the radio station parking lot are over, one wonders why Imus feels compelled to promote this dreck. Is it because Kid Rock has seemingly eschewed his street pimp gangsta persona in favor of a Jim Reeves-like vocal styling, trading in Joe C for Mexican Joe? Or is it because the I-Man truly thinks it's good? I believe it just may be the latter. But the opinion is indeed shaped by another paper bag in the radio station parking lot. Except this time, instead of being filled with cash, it's filled with spray paint and airplane glue. And the I-Man be huffin', 'cause all his homies from the hood say it's fly.
Come on, hey, we going to the beach. Grab a couple of toys and let Dada strap you in the car seat. But where's Mama? She's taking a little nap in the trunk. Sit back in the chair, honey. Quit trying to climb out. Wake up, sleepyhead, we're here. Before we pray, we're gonna take Mommy for a bit of walk along the pier. Haley, don't cry, honey. Don't get the wrong idea. Mama's too sleepy to hear you screaming in her ear. That's why you can't get it awake. But don't worry, Dada made a nice bed for Mommy at the bottom of the lake. Here, you wanna help Dada tie a rope around this rock? We'll tie it to her footsie, then we'll roll her off the dock. Ready now? Here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Whee! There goes Mama splashing in the water. No more fighting with Dad. No more restraining order. No more stepdad. No more new brother. Blow her kisses bye-bye. Tell Mama you love her. We'll go play in the sand, build a castle and junk. But first, tell Dad with 2 more things out the trunk. Imus in the morning.
It's time for New Year's resolutions, and if you've made a resolution to save money...
I wouldn't swear to that.
Just a question, since the Hart office building's been closed since September due to the anthrax, why is it that all the post offices and their workers are open for business, exposing all the workers, mostly minority, to further exposure? Well, you can ask that yourself. Imus, how insensitive can you be? Would you be acting the same way if Chuck's little Ozzy became roadkill? Yes, of course, we would. Absolutely.
But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, because Amos, for the love of all things holy, would you get rid of that greasy punk Rosenberg?
Signed Warner. He's not even on today.
Not even on? What's the deal with MSNBC? Instead of the I-Man, I'm getting Bob Hager in the middle of a snowstorm. It's the weather. Get over it. Well,
it's winter.
Got to cover it. Yeah. Well, big national football, big national championship college football game this evening. But there's so much controversy surrounding this event that I don't know. I mean, I'm going to watch it, obviously.
It's lost some of its luster.
Yeah, I even watched Florida last night and Maryland for a while. And I wasn't paying attention. Actually, I was reading something to Wyatt, and I looked up, it's 42-10. I said, that's the end of this.
Good night.
So, tonight, Miami and Nebraska from Pasadena, California, the Rose Bowl. And, I don't know. But controversy involving some pro teams. And
as the college bowl season comes to a climax.
Yeah, so here to discuss that is a former quarterback for the Giants.
Great.
And the big moolah over at CBS Sports. Moolah Sims, Phil Sims.
The big moolah? What is the big moolah?
I don't know. Anyway, Happy New Year.
Well, same to you.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Doing well. So what were you reading to your son last night?
A number of things. One, because somebody sent him a new Olivia doll that they make. Olivia the pig, you know.
Yeah, no.
The new Olivia Saves the Circus. I read that. And then there's some kind of wacky fairy tales that are written in cartoon form, but they're very clever. Like the Princess and the Pea and all of those, and the Jack and the Beanstalk and all.
Yeah.
But these are very hip, and so he likes those. So those are the two things I was reading to him last night.
It's great having children. You know, I tell people this all the time. I loved it because I loved watching all those and reading all the fairy tales and stories that I never read or saw myself when I was growing up. You know, like watching all these Disney movies. So sitting down, hey, it's just a good excuse. Oh, I'm doing it for my son here. Excuse me. Watch it. I enjoyed that.
I like to see how these stories end, frankly.
Do you
sometimes I'm reading to him and he'll fall asleep and I'll finish the story.
Do you read them as Crazy Bob when you read?
Hi, boys. No, I don't. So big controversy surrounding Vinny Testaverde and the Jets in that game against who were they? Buffalo.
Yeah.
Now, what exactly happened? Do you know anything about this? Or?
Well, yeah, I know it. I watched it.
Well, tell me about it.
Well, the controversy is, I think there was exactly 13 seconds ago. Now I forget what yard line they were on.
24.
24. Oh, you don't know anything about it, but you.
No, well, I'm just.
Okay. But he threw a pass.
Filling in the blanks.
Curtis Martin was tackled on the 17-yard line.
and they did not have time to really get another play off, even though Vinny Testaverde realized it, got the ball snapped, but nobody else was running the route. They were expecting him to kill the ball on the ground and try to run one more play that way. So the controversy is, when something like that happens in a game that important, everybody wants to know why you could let that happen, and so that's the controversy. He says that was the play called, I ran it. Coach said he could have changed it, he didn't, and, he said, she said. And that's what we got going.
So the coach called that play with 13 seconds left and no timeouts, throwing a ball down the middle of the field?
Well,
no limit. Sports Radio 66,
Lunch hour here on the Fan, 4 afternoon, Mac and Sid till 1, then you get Mike and the dog. We got a pair of Rangers Kings tickets to give away this hour, so you want to stay tuned for that. ABC just checked in and told us Terry Bowden's got to change hotels. He's been bugged out of his hotel, so he will not be joining us today for insights on tonight's Miami against Nebraska game. That means more phone time for you at 718-937-6660.
Plus, they already gave you all the insights you need, Jody Mack, and that is, I know lots of people out there were intrigued by that double-digit spread last night.
Morning up here in Chappaqua.
Yes, I did hear that.
Although the saddest part of the story is the wrong dog is dead. Old buddy's gone.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Let the family pit out in the backyard. Someone leaves the gate open. Next thing you know, paving pizza. I've been kind of guilty of that myself. Although no matter how many times I leave the gate open, I can't seem to get my old lady to wander out into traffic. It's always sad when man's best friend dies.
Yes, it is.
Though I always thought man's best friend wasn't a dog. It was a hooker who could cook. Old buddy and the former president had a whole lot in common.
Really?
They both like to eat. Both like long walks in the woods.
Yeah.
Both like to do it doggy style with the bitches.
Yeah.
One thing Buddy had on the president, though, he didn't need no intern to lick him. He could do it himself.
That'll be, God, Jesus, God, get off my phone.
There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger. Every move he makes, another chance he takes. Odds are he won't live to see tomorrow. Imus in the morning.
Have you ever experienced sudden panic or fear? Are you ever overwhelmed?
24 after the hour here on the Imus Morning program. Ashleigh Banfield, we're going to talk with her. I was asking Charles and Eddie if they thought this song parody was lame or not, and they said no, they thought it was great, so check it out.
All my bags are checked, packed them myself, grabbed phony passport from the shelf, took lessons so I'm knowing how to fly. Working many months at 7-Eleven, now this taxi driver is going to heaven. Are virgins waiting for me when I die? No one frisk me or profile me, tell me they're detaining me, holding me, refuse to let me go. I'm a heathen on a jet plane who hope he won't be back again. Oh, babe, can't wait to go. Security is worst I've seen. Would carry on through the machine. Found sewing kit, but missed my plastic gun. Guards act like they're all in a coma. Not one has a high school diploma. Who knew this was so easy or such fun? No one frisk me or profile me, tell me they're detaining me, holding me, refuse to let me go. I'm a heathen on a jet plane who hope he won't be back again. Oh, babe, can't wait to go. Shaved my beard, took off my turban, won't be stopped now, I look suburban. These infidels so clueless and so dumb. So dumb. Now it's time to take off shoes. Flicking big, I light the fuse. This is now non-stop flight to Kingdom Come. Allah, here we go. No one frisk me or profile me. Tell me they're detaining me, holding me, refuse to let me go. I'm a heathen on a jet plane who hope he won't be back again. Heathen on a jet plane who hope he won't be back again. Heathen on a jet plane who hope he won't be back again. Oh, babe, I can't wait to go.
When your pubic hair's on fire, something's wrong. When you think you're the Messiah, something's wrong. You must take a plane for Venus. Something's wrong. When your girlfriend's got a penis, something's wrong. Alice in the morning.
Okay, there's one big, wide highway, 6 lanes, straight as an arrow, and it goes forever.
Yes, he is.
He sent me great messages while I was overseas. Chris Jansing, same thing. Greg Jarrett all sent me messages of
All the women,
of
you're
support.
a fool. You're a fool.
I am not a fool.
I'll tell you, Brian.
You have me mistaken for local news right now. There's a
For
lot of that
example.
going on in local news at times, but not at
believe
MS.
me. Oh, please. For example, Geraldo Rivera, who I think
Bumped into him
known
over there.
is a great reporter.
He's
He
a nice
is
guy.
Great
He's
reporter.
a very nice guy as
He
well.
hit on
You
him.
know what?
He must
He
have hit him.
did not.
He had
Imus,
to.
come on, clean
Please,
up your act.
I've known him for 30 years.
Oh,
Well,
I
so,
forgot about
oh,
that. Speaking of, I have this for you.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a Christmas gift. Don't think that I was thinking of you while I was overseas. I wasn't. But I have this, and I thought it was perfect for you because your waiting room is your office, and it's filled with books. And I remember the last time I was being snoopy nosy and looked through all your books, and I thought you'd probably appreciate this. This comes from Kabul. I went into a bookstore there that operated underground during the Taliban, but before it went underground, the Taliban stormed the bookstore and destroyed a lot of the books that were in there and defaced any that had what they thought were iconic images because, of course, the Taliban said it was banned to worship any icons. So what you're seeing on the cover there of that book is animal faces that the Taliban took a jiffy marker to and scribbled out on the front to show that was inappropriate. And they allowed the book to stay up on the shelves until they shut down the bookstore altogether, and the bookstore operator took all of his books into his basement and hid them for 5 years.
So this is not part of the cover. This is something they actually did.
They did that. Yeah, they did that.
Oh, man, this is almost a collector's item, isn't it? It is a collector's
I would
item.
say so, yeah. There aren't many around.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I noticed your book collection, and it's pretty extensive, and I thought, well, this one can't be copied, so... Yeah.
Well, this is pretty neat, Chuck. Look at this.
That's amazing.
It is 16 till the hour. We're talking with Ashleigh Banfield from NBC News. We'll talk more seriously with her about what is going on in Afghanistan, the search for Mullah Omar and Osama bin Laden, and the rest of it coming up about 16 now till the hour.
I dig rock and roll music. I can do the twang and the jerk. I wear strictly continental suits and high collar shirts. I've got a reputation of being gentle but bold, and that's why they call me Imus in the morning.
All right, let me talk to you about Jeep. I'll get one of them if I can find it here. Well, I do know enough about it to tell you that they've got an interesting program from the Fleetwood Mac reunion thing that they did in front of a live audience. But I need a studio version of it, which I suspect might be better, but maybe it won't.
Why? What are you talking about?
From my iPod.
Oh, for crying out loud.
So, because, I'm able to... I have now about 16 or 17 hours of music on my iPod, and there's room for lots more.
Believe me.
Yeah.
I don't care. Right. Bernard doesn't care.
Right.
Eddie Scazzeri doesn't care, nor does anybody care that you have your iPod and that it has 17 hours of music on it. Nobody cares.
Okay.
This is not information you need to share with the national listening audience at all. Shut up.
You know, I thought that was a good spirited defense on the part of Ashleigh Banfield of the criticism of her dye and her hair and that sort of thing. Didn't you?
Absolutely. Yes, made eminent sense. Not that it did any good. I mean, you know, she still, looks good with brunette hair or whatever.
Yeah.
And she didn't need to lump herself in with Christiane Amanpour. I don't think Christiane has anything to worry about. Christiane looks like looks like Saddam Hussein, for God's sakes.
Yeah, yes, I know that, but I think Ashleigh was trying to be kind, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah. So. But
every precaution you take, it was a tense time back then.
I understand that, but she was widely criticized and made fun of by, well, as I pointed out to her, us.
Yeah.
And everybody else, but particularly us. So.
Idiot.
I like her. She's smart. She's a good reporter.
Yeah.
Very good.
She's got onions.
She does
indeed.
Got nerve. She absolutely does.
But being attractive is not held against Campbell Brown or Nora O'Donnell.
Well, but they haven't gone out into the field. You know,
they haven't.
In a cushy studio.
Right, it's true. They look like Campbell Brown riding around on Air Force One.
Right. They ain't exactly been putting their burkas on, have they? No.
No, they haven't. So.
Well, she's getting her face out there in the place.
You bet.
And the same with, I think you have to say the same for Geraldo Rivera. I mean, you may want to criticize him. You may think he's a buffoon, but he's not. Well, he is in some areas, but in this area he's not.
Right.
Despite the incident that didn't go well for Geraldo about claiming he was suffering under friendly fire, and he was praying over the hallowed ground of where the 3 Americans were hit.
Yeah.
It all turned out to be a mistake, according to Fox.
Well, no.
An understandable mistake.
No. You need to tell me. You need to fill me in on the details of this. What happened now?
Oh, well, apparently on December 6th, Rivera reported he said the Lord's Prayer over hallowed ground where 3 American servicemen were killed the day before by U.S. bombing raids. The soldiers died outside Kandahar in southern Afghanistan. At the time, Rivera was in Tora Bora, some 300 miles to the northeast. And then Fox went on to apologize, saying it's not the first time, nor it will be the last, that a mistake is made in a war zone.
There you go. Okay.
It was just a mistake.
Mistakes were made.
He didn't know where he was.
Me didn't know where he was. Of course he knew where he was.
Well, you know, he's Afghanistan's one big mumbo-jumbo, I guess. Bunch of mountains.
Well, he either knew that these 3 Americans had been killed there or not.
Well,
he must have known they hadn't been killed there, right?
Not only that, the Pentagon said that the bombing raid occurred after the morning of December 9th, at least 3 days after Rivera's initial report. Rivera said he was referring to still another such event, but no journalist could confirm the existence of another friendly fire incident on December 5th. So there's a couple of problems.
Sounds like a...
And Fox did apologize. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like he's making up the news.
Sounds like it.
Sounds like he's making up events to... Oh, I don't know.
Maybe he can come on and explain it to the I-Man.
Well, maybe he can.
Yeah.
But I need to know specifically... We'll go with this again now. He's in Tora Bora. He's saying the Lord's Prayer on camera?
He said that he said the Lord's Prayer over hallowed ground, his words, where 3 American servicemen were killed the day before by U.S. bombing raids.
All right, and that was in...
That was on December 6th.
Right.
So he was referring to an incident on December 5th.
Right.
But the Pentagon said the bombing raid occurred after the morning of December 9th.
In Kandahar, outside Kandahar.
Yes. Yeah. And he was...
some 300 miles away.
At Tora Bora.
Right.
So we have 2 problems. We have location and time. And this is what he reported on Fox.
Well, when did he report that he had said the Lord's Prayer over this hallowed ground? Did he report that on December 6th?
No, it was subsequent to the bombing. It would have had to have been. But...
well, when did he report it? Because he'd have had to... If the bombing didn't occur until December 9th...
Okay, I'll give you a date.
And he's reporting this on December 6th, and he had some sort of...
Pre-pression to...
We're talking about Nostradamus
here.
He
was apparently recounting this episode.
When?
At some point on Fox. According to the Washington Times reported this on December 28th.
Yeah.
And the Baltimore Sun as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know exactly what date it was that he made that report, that he was recounting this story, but he recounted it and he got his facts wrong.
I see.
So maybe he was, well, why speculate? We don't know.
So he said at some point after December 9th, apparently, that on December 6th, he had said the Lord's Prayer over this hallowed ground.
Where the day before 3 American servicemen had died in a friendly fire incident.
But it doesn't, you mean, and then he just misidentified what he was talking about? He said Tora Bora, or did he file a report from there?
No, he wasn't on the date of the bombing, but and on the date of when he said that this occurred, he was 300 miles away. He was not in Kandahar.
Right.
On December 5th. And the bombing apparently didn't occur until December 9th.
But when did his report air? And where was he when the report aired? Well, in other words, was he on television walking around saying, you know, I said the Lord's Prayer over this ground here where 3 Americans died yesterday? Or was he sitting in the studio with Roger Ailes and somebody else saying, when I was in Afghanistan, I said a prayer over this hallowed ground there in Tora Bora when he met Kandahar. I mean, that's a mistake you could make, but I mean, if he filed a report from the location itself and said on television, you know, that
I just prayed over this ground.
This is where I just prayed over the ground, and this is the ground here, and he shows you the stuff on television, then I can understand. Then that's just jive.
Well, apparently, here it is. On December 6th, Rivera reported he had said the Lord's Prayer. It was on December 6th that he made that claim.
Yet the bombing in Kandahar was not to occur for 3 more days.
Well, what the hell bombing was he talking about then?
I don't know.
Does anybody know what bombing he was talking about?
Apparently not.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, that's just...
I don't know, I meant.
That's just absurd, the whole thing, isn't it?
It's crazy.
But yeah, it is. It is crazy.
Imus in the morning.
In the
HD TV, made possible by Panasonic and PC Richard & Son. I'm Laurie McNichol for the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol.
Andy Rooney this week is checking his Rolodex for the number of Ken Starr. Andy?
I don't know how you feel, but doesn't it just figure that the pet dog of a couple of goobers would wind up as roadkill? Apparently, the most ethical administration in the history of the country, remember that one, is continuing out of office precisely as it did in office, flouting the law. Yes, Buddy, Bill and Hillary Clinton's chocolate Labrador retriever, has come out on the short end, sad to say, trying to retrieve a car. The unfortunate episode near the Clintons' Chappaqua, New York home the other day can pretty well be summed up in 3 words. Pow, zing, splat. Do you have a dog? Most people who do are conversant with the conventions society has put in place to keep their pets from coming to the sort of calamitous conclusion wherein they wind up looking like Wile E. Coyote at the end of a Roadrunner cartoon. Yes, even one of the country's 100 smartest lawyers. They're called leash laws and generally run along the lines of no person owning or having charge of any dog shall cause, permit, or allow such dog to be at large unless restrained by a leash. Or, at the very least, the ordinances require said animal to be under voice and visual supervision of a, quote, competent person. Well, that part could be a problem in the case of the Clintons, I guess. However, people with hat-size IQs who go through life with their index fingers in their noses have pretty much got it down how to keep their pets safe. We're told that it's unknown whether when Buddy got muddy, he was being formally walked or had escaped from the Clintons' property. Yeah. Either way, it's a matter for Ken Starr, if you're asking me, because in this case, there is a controlling legal authority. The Clintons issued a statement after Buddy bought it, saying in essence that he was a loyal companion who brought us much joy, and he will truly be missed. If that has a ring of familiarity, history will show it's the same thing they said after Vince Foster went belly up. I'm still waiting for the other part of the statement. You know, the part that goes, I never shoved that dog into the passing lane, not once. And now, I've got to get back to the job of trying to pad my legacy, so as America thinks I did something during my administration other than get blowjobs and give a get-out-of-jail-free card to Osama bin Laden. By the way, thinking about having to actually live in the Clinton household, I'm with the conspiracy theorists who say Vince Foster was murdered, but Buddy was a suicide. Well, anyway, the Clintons don't have the greatest history with pets, save for Bill with beavers, I guess.
Fine.
But remember how they dumped poor old Socks, the cat?
Sure.
Foisted it off on Betty Curry there at the last when they were ransacking the White House? Ditched the thing faster than they jettisoned Susan McDougal. Well, I hate to sound overly mistrustful, and call me the cynic, but let's see. They dumped Socks, put out a contract on Buddy. Chelsea, watch your back.
So, it's 22 after the hour. When Ashleigh Banfield came over here, I introduced her to Christy Metamusha, whatever her name is, and had no intention of introducing her to either Jody McDonald, Sid Rosenberg, or certainly that mole slug, Rich Ackerman.
Oh, absolutely. Spare her that.
So while I'm introducing her to Christy, Ackerman said, "Oh, what are we? You know? Well, you're a mutant. That's what you are. And you're
to be ignored.
You are to be ignored. You're sports scum. No, we're not going to introduce you to anybody." God, I mean, what are they even thinking about? Now, had Eddie been there, I would have introduced her to Eddie. So.
And how do you differentiate then?
Because I like Eddie.
There you go.
So, and Eddie's intelligent, as opposed to Rich, who's a moron. And Jody, who is just functionally literate, and Sid, who's I might have introduced her to Sid. I kind of like Sid, but
Jody's a great guy. Rich is a sweetheart.
Rich is a mutant.
I don't see that.
Am I right, Bernie?
Well, he's sort of, he's not the most worldly guy in the world. I think he was living with his parents up until about 6 months ago.
Right.
But he's a good guy.
What is he, 38?
Where does he live now?
He has a swinging bachelor's pad in Manhattan.
Oh, he does?
Yes.
Rich Ackerman. I got the NBA package if you want to come over.
The only way a woman will ever get into that house is if she's delivering Chinese food or something like that.
Oh, man, I mean, these sports center geeks.
Well, there you go.
Just pathetic, you know. Has anybody seen Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon's show on ESPN?
I have not.
No.
It's not on ESPN. It's on ESPN2, right?
I don't know.
Well, you know what it's on. This is what Kornheiser claims he gave up his gig at the Washington Post to do.
I remember that when he made that decision, an announcement.
Oh, my God.
Have you seen it?
No, of course not.
I haven't seen it.
The Autobot Express, sponsored by Mohegan Sun. 30% off everything in stock at the Autobot Express. Call them this morning, 1-800. Stuff's flying out of there, incidentally. But call this morning, 1-800-272-1957. What happened to Fred this morning, by the way?
Fred has not phoned in.
Yeah, but did we call him?
Yeah, I tried to phone him, as a matter of fact.
Oh, couldn't get a hold of him.
No answer.
Okay. Did you try him in Santa Fe?
I tried all the 505 numbers.
Oh, okay. And we couldn't get a hold of him.
That's correct.
Well, try him again.
10-4.
Autobot Express, sponsored by Mohegan Sun. You can check them out on the website at autobotexpress.com. And call 1-800-272-1957. All kinds of neat stuff. And I do want to remind you that Imus Brothers Coffee is available at ShopRite, King Cullen Supermarkets, and nationwide through netgrocer.com. And one of the big supermarket chains, I forget which one, wants to have I think it's, I'm not sure. It could be Stop and Shop out of Boston, or wants to have a salsa recipe contest, a Fred Imus salsa recipe contest.
Very well.
And the first prize could be
Good, James. How are you this morning?
my car,
What do you mean?
my S600.
Really?
From my Mercedes.
Holy cow.
Which has about,
No kidding.
I don't know, maybe 1,200 miles on it, if that. Maybe, I think maybe it only has 300 or 400 or 500 miles on it.
May only have 12 miles on it, rather than 1,200.
26 FDR.
Good morning, I'm Lori McNichol for the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol. Expect delays on the upper level of the Brooklyn-bound Verrazano because of emergency pothole repair work blocking a lane. Southbound Cross Island Parkway is crawling into Union Turnpike where there's a collision blocking one lane. Northbound Cross Island still slow through the LIE because of an earlier accident. 5 minutes at the outbound Lincoln Tunnel, no delays.
Am I right, Lori? This person we're talking about is fatter than...
I have not seen her since she was pregnant, so I really couldn't say anything about that.
Come on.
In Bergen County, westbound 80s, a mess approaching the Hackensack River Bridge where a tractor trailer lost its axle on a couple of wheels. No truck is in the local lanes. The wheels are about half a mile down the road in the express lanes. This report's brought to you by JCPenney. Saturday, January 5th. Don't miss savings of 20 to 60% off store-wide at the JCPenney Saturday one-day only sale. It's all inside JCPenney. I'm Lori McNichol for the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol.
Quarter till the hour here on the Imus Morning program. Remember that guy? Do we ever get that guy's name from General Motors?
We're efforting it.
Mike something. I was talking to him yesterday.
It is Michael Albana.
Michael Albana from General Motors. I said, I want to trade in his 3 Suburbans we have out at the ranch. And, you know, for new ones, we'll pay whatever the difference is, you know. He said, we'll give you 3 new Chevrolet ones. Wow. Just trade them in. You don't have to pay us anything. So thanks to them, General Motors and Chevrolet.
Yeah, right.
So,
talk about standing up.
Haul them little knotheads around in that.
Terrific.
Because it's...
very nice of
Put
them.
some miles on it because it's 110 miles from the
sure.
airport to the ranch. So unless they take Amtrak this year, in which it's only 25 miles from Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, Sid Rosenberg's here trying to make something out of nothing.
No, that's not.
Over
That's
this
not
whole Mike Francesa deal, and suggesting that Mike was made some sort of egregious, foolish, ill-informed prediction on this game. When all Mike said is he thought that Nebraska had the talent, and anybody did. Except you and me.
Did. Right, exactly.
Yeah, except you and me. But I mean, most people thought that that Nebraska had enough talent, and I actually, I didn't think they could. I didn't think this game would be close. And I guaranteed a Miami Hurricane victory. But it's reasonable to think that Mike, who knows as much about this stuff as he does, would think that Nebraska might have some talent and be able to be competitive with the Miami Hurricanes. Now, of course, you and I knew they weren't.
Right, you and I knew differently. You and I.
Right. But I don't think you can criticize Mike for suggesting.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because Don Imus and Sid Rosenberg knew better. And I provided you guys on 2 different occasions on this morning's program with audio.
I didn't know better.
You knew better.
No, I didn't. I just knew that Miami was going to kill him.
Well, that means you knew better. So if you knew Miami was going to kill him...
I didn't make that kind of analysis.
How many games did you watch this year?
That was a gut thing.
That's fine.
I just made a gut prediction based on no knowledge of, the personnel on either team.
That even makes it worse.
No subtleties and nuances. He went where he had a gut feeling.
Right. Charles, that even makes it worse. If Imus, by his own admission, hadn't watched the Miami game all year, but was smart enough to know...
Well, that's not true. I have watched them.
Not all that often. Would you admit that?
Well, I'd seen him. I had the ESPN package.
So you saw him a couple of times, and you're smart enough to know, you're a brilliant man, that Miami was going to go out there and destroy Nebraska.
You are sick.
I'm going to come over there and slap you.
Who watches every game and knows more football, I'll agree, than anybody in the country, couldn't, based upon the evidence that you and I had, Imus, come up with the same conclusion. In the end, to say that Nebraska was going to be competitive enough where it could actually win the football game, you couldn't be any more wrong. It was 34-0 in the second quarter. It's an embarrassing prognostication by Mr. Francesa.
The tools to
be competitive.
To make it close.
He told me.
He had the potential.
Actually, he told me in the hallway. I was talking to him. They thought it was going to be very close.
Very close.
Yeah.
Decided by a field goal. He did say Miami would win, but by a late field goal. Is that the way the game went? No.
Classic matchup.
Classic matchup.
Well,
these are some of the things we heard. 34-0 in the second quarter. What does that say?
That says that eat my words.
Don Imus and Sid Rosenberg know more football than anybody at this station. That includes Mike Francesa, Chris Russo, Jody McDonald, Joe Beningo,
certainly more than Jody McDonald.
Summers. Who else? Well, Jody Mack actually said Miami would win.
What?
You got to give Jody Mack credit. He said Miami would win. He did say that.
So did Mike.
No, but Jody thought...
Win big?
Mike said he would win, too.
Yeah.
Mike said they would win, too.
Yeah, that's true. Mike did say they would win, too.
Okay, case closed.
That's it. So it's just you and I, Imus. That's it. You and I. You and I should do a sports show together, like on Saturdays. What do you say? Like from 3 to 5 on Saturdays.
That'd be great.
I-Man and Sid, talking sports.
Uh-huh.
I like it.
I do.
You think Chernoff will go for it?
Oh, I'm sure he would, sure. Absolutely.
Of course he would. But we're only going to talk about sports.
Right.
No Ashleigh Banfields, no
Miklashevsky.
right? No Dick Gregory's, none of those guys.
Right.
No Dick Gregory.
No Dick Gregory.
Right.
No, who else comes on the show? No Victor Aspall. Who else?
Never mind, but
Yeah, okay.
we get the point.
So anyway, in the
What
end,
else going on?
my prediction was right. Also,
Who do you like, Jets Rader?
to win this game, you realize,
Right.
or there's a chance if Seattle beats Kansas City, that the Jets will not make it to the playoffs.
What if the Jets and Seattle both lose?
Then the Jets make it.
Oh, yeah.
If the Jets and Seattle both lose, the Jets make it. Now, I heard your brother, Fred, talking about the Viking game, and he said he thought the Vikings may beat the Ravens because of Dennis Green.
Yeah.
Reports are that things are so bad between Dennis Green and the Vikings that Dennis Green's agent has recommended to Dennis that he leaves today. He doesn't even coach the game on Monday night. They're so aggravated that they leaked to the press that he's getting fired after the game on Monday that he said, why should my guy stick around for 3 days just to get fired after the game? Screw you, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So Dennis Green may quit his job today.
Oh, I see.
Racial thing, Sid?
Well, I didn't say that.
Is it, though?
Is it?
I know Dennis. He's a nice guy. You know, I would say no. I would say no. I would hope not.
Right.
I would hope not.
Yeah.
And Dennis has done a nice job with that team. He took that team to the playoffs with 4 different
So my
quarterbacks
brother,
in 4 years.
So my brother's a fool.
Well, no, Fred's not a fool. No. He
Well, it sounds like you're suggesting.
No, I'm not suggesting. Well, I'm not suggesting that at all. No,
We
that's not
are.
the case. And also, by the way, I know
My
that.
brother's naive like you are.
Well, he's not naive. He was right. He was right about Dennis Green leaving. He was correct in his statement, but I just don't know if he was aware of the latest facts. So I made Fred aware of those.
The players are not going to play suddenly for Dennis Green if they don't play all year, are they? Even if they're playing for next year.
Another tremendous point by you.
Yeah.
You just keep coming up with them, don't you?
You really are
Pick
sickening.
one today. You are 5 for 5. Hey, did you hear the call by Bob Papa, by the way, for the Giants and the Eagles, the end of that football game?
No,
One
everybody.
of the great calls I'm in.
One of the great calls.
I would say one of the great calls in the history of the NFL.
Let me hear it.
Collins back, underneath. Pass complete to Barber. 2 seconds to go. Laterals it to Ron Dixon. He's got room. Running left. Dixon down the left sideline. He's 1 block away from doing it. There goes Ron Dixon, and he's stopped at the 4-yard line. Oh, my goodness. The hook and ladder almost worked.
What do you think?
I don't think Don Criqui has anything to worry about.
Oh, come on.
That was a nothing call. What is that? One of the great calls of
One
what?
of the great. That's a fantastic call.
How is that
You could actually, you could hear the crescendo building up, almost like a musical piece. Starts off nice and slow, and as the guy starts to break away, gets inside Eagle territory, starts to raise his voice a little bit. Now he's inside the 10. Now you reach that burst of excitement. Oh, tackled at the 4. I thought it was spectacular.
That's not the way he did it, by the way.
No?
You just did it better than he did. Oh, the guy's a loser.
Well, what would you consider a great call? If you got to come up with one.
Well, I can't think of any. I don't know. I can't think of any.
Well, then how can you say his call's not a great
Well,
call?
I just know it's not.
Wasn't moved.
Well, you had one a couple of moments ago. You thought
I think the people like Don Criqui.
Don Criqui?
Yes. Don Criqui can take a Seattle Seahawks Kansas City game and make it sound exciting.
He quit 30 years ago. I mean, come on, Imus.
He still has it.
They got 6 teams that work for the network, and he's on the 8th team.
What is
Don Criqui?
Well,
you owe Bob Papa some money or something?
No, I don't know about Pop any money. I'm a guy that recognizes talent. Papa's got
what are you
talent.
saying about Don Criqui?
Well, I'm just saying that Cricky's best days are well behind him. I mean, Don Criqui was at one point one of the all-time greats, but that was when you were like my age.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. Long time ago.
He's not getting a big A game now?
No, that's when like Dick Clark had shows on prime time every week.
Right.
You know, that's when Jerry Lee Lewis was hot in the record stores.
Right.
It's on Mae West. Everybody thought she was hot before Britney Spears.
Right.
That's your time. That's not mine, man. I'm well past Don Criqui. Now I got my greats. Iron Eagle. Jim Nance. These are the greats of today.
Iron Eagle and Jim Nance are it's a compliment to call him mediocre.
No, that's not true.
Oh, please.
No, that's not true.
Oh, please.
Now, listen, I did appreciate
How
Criqui.
about Marv Albert?
What about him?
His day over?
No, he's still one of the greats. Marv Albert is still absolutely one of the greats.
Well, I bet he's younger than Don Criqui.
No.
I bet he's older than Don Criqui.
You think Marv is?
Absolutely.
Well, but he's been able to maintain. Cricky's lost it a little bit.
Yes?
Yeah, I think he has, yeah. Well, what does he do? You ever hear Don Criqui do anything? What do you hear Don Criqui do these days?
Well, I've heard him do these games. He makes them exciting.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't?
No.
He absolutely does.
No. There was a time when Criqui, along with Dick
You know
Enberg...
who else is pretty good? Dick
Kurt
Stockton.
Dowdy. Dick Stockton stinks.
He does?
He's the worst out of everyone you just mentioned.
Really?
At football?
Yeah.
He's okay at basketball. He's horrible at football.
He is?
Horrible. One of the worst.
I didn't know that.
You know who he's married to? Leslie Visser.
Yes.
What do you think of her?
I like Leslie.
Oh, gee, you are.
Well, what's wrong with Leslie Visser?
Well, she's just, at the very best, she's average. At the very best. On her best day, she's average. On her worst day, she's just horrendous.
Mary Carrillo, how do you like her?
I don't like her.
Okay.
Well, who else you got?
The NBC basketball chick, Hannah Storm.
Hannah Storm.
She's pretty good. She's all right.
Yeah.
You know, she's not bad. Right. And I like Melissa Stark. She's good looking.
Right.
And
how do you like Melissa Stark's reports?
She's not there for her reports, I mean.
She's not?
No, she's there because she's good looking.
Okay.
Just like the one who does...
the reports are just idiotic.
No, they're horrendous. It's just terrible.
They are horrendous.
They're all terrible.
Yeah.
That's why I have to go back to the guys I mentioned earlier to you. Guys like Nance, who's a consummate professional. He does a tremendous job. Jim Nance?
At best, mediocre.
No, I would say he's the best in the business right now.
You know, Jim Nance it's CBS's Jody McDonald.
No, that's Jody McDonald does Jody McDonald and I are putting on this fantastic show on a daily basis.
You are doing a great job. Jody is killing you.
PC Richard & Son to see what you've been missing, or call 1-800-422-8222 to learn more. Philips Digital Widescreen. See what you've been missing.
Copyright 2002, Infinity Broadcasting. All your rights is reserved. Imus in the Morning is a presentation of WFAN and Westwood One Entertainment.
The flagship station for Imus in the Morning and New York sports all day is The Fan. Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York, an Infinity Broadcasting station. WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good morning at 10 o'clock. This is Rich Ackerman.
If you watched the game tonight, you saw we have talent.
Ron Gardenhire, their new manager today. It is currently 30 degrees in Central Park, and that's what's happening. This is Rich Ackerman with 2020 Sports on WFAN, the flagship station for the Imus in the Morning program, weekdays from 5:30 until 10.
Couple of minutes after 10 on a football Friday. Jody Mack here on the Fan with my partner, Sidney Rosenberg. How are you this morning, Sidney?
Good, Jody Mack. How you doing?
Can't complain, and if I did, who the hell would listen?
Yeah, well, they would listen, but certainly nobody would care.
Would do anything.
Right, I'm in the same boat, trust me.
In one ear and out the other.
They even may go, sorry about that, but, you know, no skin off my butt, something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Which you would be at the top of the list of course. Thank you very much.
No, that's not true at all.
We got lots to discuss here today, including Miami, Nebraska last night.
Maybe it has.
Probably not in the same stadium.
Yeah. Well, Jet fans are going to go. I'll tell you, I saw Beningo this morning, Mac, because I come into the Imus show very early, and he's walking out. He's going back to church on Sunday. He hasn't been to church since he was like bar mitzvah. And he's going back to church on Sunday to pray to God that Vinny Testaverde has a good game against the Oakland Raiders.
How many of those church bar mitzvahs do you would think? 10:21 here on the Fan. Mac and Sid work the phones. Stevie Cohen will be on. We'll talk some Giant football with them. Hopefully a Giant player as well. We'll make football picks. We get the phones going at 718-937-6666. Kneeling to my right, Richard Ackerman.
WFAN 2020 Sports.
The Hurricanes have the ball at the Nebraska 49-yard line. Dorsey, right to work. Fakes the handoff. Throws down the middle. Wide open. Johnson at the 12. Over the 10-5. Rock and roll. Touchdown.
Mark Vandermeer on WQAM was that kind of with reports every 20 minutes. Rich Ackerman, WFAN 2020 Sports.
Listen to a full day of the NFL on FAN Sunday, beginning with Mike Francesa and the NFL Now at 9 a.m. Then it's Giants-Packers football at 1, the NFL in action at 5:30, and Tampa Bay, Philadelphia for Sunday Night Football at 8. When you want the NFL, it's here on the flagship station for New York sports, The Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York.
I got a new bicycle for Christmas. I got a dollhouse. I got a huge train set.
Now that things for less.
10:26 on the Fan. Mac and Sid. We get to the phones in a second. 718-93.
Open up your heart and the truth comes out.
CBS FM, talking in your sleep, romantics, and that is our brown bag for Friday afternoon. We thank you once again, Joey Prout.
Radio 66 WFAN. They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can. It's Mike and the Mad Dog on the Fan. Nothing can get by 'em, turn it on and try 'em. Mike and the Mad Dog,
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? The Mike and the Mad Dog Radio program. Nice to have you with us on this Friday here in New York. Good to have you aboard. 4th day of January, the year 2002. Mark Malusis and Chris Collin. The Mike and the Mad Dog Radio program taking us 6 as we chat about really football today. Lots cooking. Good afternoon there, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, dog. Glad the ball season's over
boy.
because I can't remember a time.
A fresh and friendly marketplace. With reports every 20 minutes, I'm Sweeney Murdy, WFAN 2020 Sports.
The NFL playoffs kick off with a wild card weekend of games Saturday and Sunday, January 12th and 13th. And you can catch all the action here on your home for the NFL playoffs, including the Super Bowl from New Orleans. The Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York.
At 5:21, we check the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol, and here's Jennifer Fogarty.
And, Sweetie, we've got some problems at the George Washington Bridge. Outbound, an accident under the apartments. It's on the upper level. Car and a truck.
Bomber Lee Corso today. Shoney Mack, take you through the afternoon. A long trip up from Philly, and now he's on the radio. Ack will be here all day as well. Ack's not going anywhere. He's going to sit in that seat and tell you about the college Seton Hall Virginia Tech game all day.
At the half.
At the half. They give you the update there, and I'll see you Monday at 1 o'clock. Enjoy your weekend, folks, and enjoy your football on Sunday. Adios.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN.
The Mets, the Giants, the Knicks, and the Rangers, all here on your flagship station for New York sports. The Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York, an Infinity broadcasting station. WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good afternoon, at 1 o'clock, this is Rich Ackerman, the long...
Who could be the boss? Look up to the cross, stranded in the land of the lost. Standing up, I'm sideways. I'm blazing up the path, running on the highways around. Choked up by the smoke and the charcoal. Lava stamps and brands me like a barcode. I'm dashing all the media strikes. I keep the media. That's reinforcement for the fight. And not alone, I'll keep John Gotti on the phone. I'm tangled in the zone, I got the bees on the track. Better for you at the cow. Let me hear your pigeons run your mouth now. I'm plugging in them social skills to keep my total bills over $1 million. The last time I checked it, thank God I'm blessed with the mind that'll wreck it. Wait until the second round and knock 'em out.
They call me Big John Stud, my middle name Mud. Dirty water flow, too much for you thug. They can't stand the blood. What up, Doc? Whole big like Elmer Fudd, the show. I miss a map, I'm unplugged. Learn, temperature's too hot for sunblock. Burn, playing with minds to get you state time. Locked behind 12 bars from a great mind. Killer bees in the club with his ladybug. Brought his to the dance floor to cut a rug. Love is love all day till they throw slug. And take another and go. Can't feel me till it's your blood. Erase tremendous, crime is endless. Same shit, different day. Father forgive us. Say no, not what they do. All praise is due. I'm big like Easy and Big Bamboo. What's that? I didn't hear you. Come on a little louder. Everybody in together now. Just what's that? I didn't hear you. Come on a little louder. Everybody in together now. Headstrong, dead calm, dead right on. Dead weight, they dead wrong. Let's get it on. 12 rounds of throwdown. Who hold crown? Protect land with 4 pounds. Limp Bizkit, get around like merry-go. What's the scenario? Coming through your stereo. Why risk it? Lifestyles of the prolific and gifted. Ate essential vitamins and minerals, delicious. Word on the street is, they bit my thesis. Knocked out their front teeth is. Trying to taste mine. Acting like they heard through the grapevine. Feeding for the baseline. 2 for 5 round. Pharmaceuticals. Hardest nails to the cuticle. Where'd you find that monster? She beautiful. Wu-Tang and Limp Bizkit. Roll on the kick a hole in the speaker, pull a plug and then jack.
Like that. So what's it all about? And where we gonna run? Maybe we can meet up on the sun. Discretion is advised for the blood of virgin eyes. We're limping on the track with the method. So get the sun block. You're getting one shot. Until you dissolve, I revolve around everything you got. From out of nowhere. Prepare. You'll be blinded by the glare. I told you not
together now. Just what's that I didn't hear you? Come on a little louder. Everybody in together now. It was over your head all day, every day. S-I-N-Y 10304 Wu-Tang Killer Bees and the limp B-I-Z-K-I-T's. Y'all know the time, y'all know the rhyme. It ain't easy being greasy in a world full of cleanliness and you know all that other madness. We gone. Peace. Method Man. Rock the house, y'all. Bring it on.
Rock radio.
Hey, man.
How are you?
I hear Laurie McNichol's getting hitched.
Well,
Damn, I hate to lose a hottie like that.
well,
Let alone to some turban-wearing physicist.
this is not good, is it? Yusuf Habib?
The traffic girl and the Taliban terrorist.
Well,
That's the kind of wedding where the bride's not the only woman wearing a veil. Although I'd bet Laurie'd be the only one whose face you wouldn't want to cover.
well,
Did you say her new hubby's name is Yusuf?
yeah.
So what, they got to play Cat Stevens music at the ceremony? The way they treat their ladies over there, how long till old Osama McNichol drags his new wife back to the homeland? She's doing the traffic reports from the family bunker in the desert. There's a jackknife camel on the dune road, so it's going to be a long ride to the Oasis this morning. It ain't too late to do one of them Dustin Hoffman graduate deals and rescue the girl from a tragic life of Middle Eastern servitude, is it?
Well,
Because you know I'm married, but I ain't a fanatic about it.
I've heard that.
There's something about a blonde babe with a stopwatch that makes my knees knock. I mean, there's an advantage to having sex with a traffic girl. You never have to last longer than 60 seconds.
23 after the hour. So I said to Bernie, where's Fred? He said, Fred hung up. I said, we're not done with Fred.
Well, you went to a commercial, so I thought it was over.
No, we keep thinking, well, Fred might have some. Where are you, by the way?
I'm in New Mexico.
No, but shouldn't you be out at the ranch?
Well, I'll be out there before the sun comes up, probably.
Well, you know, we have kids coming in April 6th.
And we're ready. We are ready.
And then we'll be out some week in March. So it'll be here before you even know it.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I know you are, but I mean, to be on your best behavior.
I'll be on my best behavior, and I'm looking forward to it, and can't wait.
So who are you predicting will win tonight's game?
Well, you look fabulous.
Dr. Dre here at the Imus Morning Program, 19 till the hour.
Born through a party in the county jail. The prison band was there, they began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard this knocked out jailbird sing. Let it rock. Everybody let it rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Spider Murphy played his inner saxophone. Little Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. The drummer boy from Illinois would crash, boom, bang. The whole rhythm section was a purple gang. Let it rock. Everybody let it rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Imus in the morning.
All right, time for another Imus Morning Healthcare Highlight from the Hackensack University Medical Center.
This is John Benko, WFAN 2020 Sports.
The flagship station for the Imus in the Morning Show is The Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York.
And this report brought to you by Home Depot.
Once again,
And guys, if you don't know where your Toyota dealer is, please pull over and ask somebody for directions.
The sports leader, Sports Radio 66, The Fan, WFAN, New York.
All right, Mac, it's time now to talk about body solutions. I'm now one of the thousands who've taken the plunge.
Nice girl, I guess, but
Beautiful.
it's just not a lot going on.
That's fine.
But they'll be hosting the American Music Awards. And covering that for us is Scott Muni. Scott's
Dono Scotso here with you backstage at the Shrine Auditorium, where in about 12 hours, the 2002 edition of the American Music Awards will take place. And the excitement's already at a fever pitch, most of it surrounding Murphy, who apparently each received the same Christmas gift from Dick Clark, another 15 minutes. I think I speak for everyone when I say, thanks, Dick. The stage is positively vibrating with energy as roadies are running around checking last-minute technical requirements for one of tonight's performers, Cher. That's right, I said Cher. Who says Dick Clark doesn't have his finger on the pulse of pop music today? Cher. Who else is he planning to have on tonight? Les Paul and Mary Ford? Just look at the list of performers. Britney Spears, Kid Rock, and King Tut's sister. If she only could turn back time. One of the evening's highlights will be a James Taylor tribute to Garth Brooks, which is kind of like a Fats Domino tribute to Pat Bone. If we only could get Garth to visit Waylon Jennings' doctor and have him amputate his head.
That'll be fine.
Waylon, of course, having his left foot removed recently, bringing new meaning to the term, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
That'll be fine.
But the big news, Michael Jackson's receiving the Artist of the Century Award. Michael slated to perform Man in the Mirror, which was a hit, I guess right around the time Cher was still hip. Not that you could actually even call him a man, but if Michael Jackson were ever to take a look in the mirror himself, he might actually see what we do. His sister. If she was an albino. But his performance won't even be as live as Britney Spears, because although she'll be lip-syncing, she'll actually be there. Michael's little ditty will be pre-taped, apparently, in an effort to retain his chances to perform at next month's Grammy Awards. There's been a lot of controversy, as you know, over the gloved ones making appearances on both award shows. Dick's got a $10 million lawsuit against Grammy's Michael Green for blackballing acts who appear on the AMAs. Of course, that's two words you don't necessarily associate with Michael Jackson. Black and... what? Can I get some confirmation on it? Can I get... Yes, it's official. A tractor trailer has pulled up backstage. Here at the loading dock, Jennifer Lopez's ass has arrived. As we speak, 3 crew members with a forklift are heading to offload the dopey Diva Stupa. Live from the Shrine Auditorium for the 29th Annual American Music Awards, this is Scott Muni.
Scotzo here, 14 after the hour here in the Imus Morning program. Now let's go to country music legend Lester Roadhog Moran, head of the Cadillac Cowboys. Morning, Roadhog.
Well, how you doing there? I'm proud to talk to you, by God. I tell you what.
Yeah.
We're down here, and all of us down here in Music City's a little bit upset this morning.
Well, what's the problem?
Well, the news you probably heard about old Waymore.
Waymore?
Well, Waylon Jennings, we always called him Waymore. I won't tell you why. We got the word down here that...
well, wait a minute. Why won't you tell us why?
Well, Waylon's a big boy.
I know
lots of ways, see?
I see. Oh, I see.
Well, let me just tell you this. We're all hoping that it wasn't his middle leg they chopped off. I'm just funning with you, Bill.
Right.
I was kind of wondering one thing, though, which foot it was that took off, because if you remember a song Waylon had called, I wrote it with him when we was in the Navy together.
Well, you didn't write the song with him, Roadhog.
Well, I give him an idea for it.
Well, Waylon Jennings, in case you don't know, because of diabetes, had his left foot removed.
What was his left foot?
Yeah. Why were you wondering about it?
Well, because he had a song out you might remember years ago called I've Always Been Crazy.
Yeah.
And as I recall, the very first line of the song goes, I've always been crazy with one foot over the...
Yes.
I'm just wondering if he still got that foot sticking out there.
Oh, shut up, Roadhog.
I've always been different with one foot over the line. Winding up somewhere one step ahead or behind. It ain't been so easy, but I guess I shouldn't complain. I've always been crazy, but it's kept me from going insane. Imus in the morning.
A child looks for hope.
Well, what is it? What's the matter?
Well, it was not a very good, you're sort of a representative of the Imus Morning program.
Yeah?
And your appearances on these 2 lame shows, Inside Edition and...
Extra?
I guess Extra's all right, but...
That's a big-time show.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand you didn't do very well.
No, I did very well. And they introduced me, by the way, as Sid Rosenberg from the Imus in the Morning program.
Right.
Damn right.
Damn right.
What else would that be?
I'm just saying. I mean, I think it went very, very well.
Jody show? What, are you kidding?
Guys,
As though you had to even say that.
Yeah.
Formerly of the sports guys, here's Sid.
But I thought the extra show went exceptionally well. I think
But the reports we have, this is true, it was a dismal
I
performance.
think the word that I heard was boring.
Yeah. Well, is there any, could you tell me who said that? Would you tell me who said
I'd
that?
rather not reveal that, but...
Flat as a pancake.
Flat as a pancake.
That's what Bernard said.
Well, you know why? He's right to a certain extent because they didn't use the quotes that I wanted them to use.
See, the thing you got to do in these situations is say, learn from experience.
Okay.
Ring the bell. School's on.
Okay, say one thing.
Right.
And if they ask you to say, that's all I got to say about it.
That's not a bad idea. Then
Just say one thing. Say whatever it is you want to get on.
Right.
Just say that.
But what happens if they just don't use anything at all?
It's better than being thought of as a snooze, a bore.
It's
Sportscaster.
It's better than having to endure what you're having to endure now. The fact is that you didn't get it done.
Well, I called a lot of my relatives, though, yesterday because I was going to be on television. It would be embarrassing if they didn't use any of the material. You know what I'm saying? I was very excited about the whole thing. I went out, I bought myself some flowers, a bottle of wine, got home, sat down.
You're supposed to be this wacky guy from the morning sports, the
I
morning
said
show.
some wacky stuff. They didn't want to use it. They didn't.
That's why you got to take the Iron Man's advice. You got hosed.
The word bang, they didn't want to use that on the air. Well, you know, so I mean, I don't see what the big deal is, but Iron Man's right. I'm going to do it the next time.
Okay.
By the way, this has been a spectacular program so far today. Stephen Cannell I'm serious. Stephen Cannell was great.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of Stephen Cannell.
Very interesting.
It was very exciting.
Yeah.
But Suge, you know, I keep telling you, man, I've told you 100 times already.
Right.
There's only one guy in the business you ought to be talking to, and it ain't Suge. P. Diddy.
Oh, man, you are... I mean, you're lame. That is lame.
You're a
punk.
man.
He is a punk.
He is a punk.
He's a punk-ass bitch.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, your boy Suge...
You know how long P. Diddy would last in the pen? About 5 seconds.
Well, let me ask you a question.
He'd be doing my laundry.
While your boy Suge was playing his little Oz routine in prison, what was my boy P. Diddy doing?
He was shooting out a woman's
selling out his friend.
Exactly.
Selling out his friend, ratting out his friend so he didn't have to go to jail. That's what he was
How about
doing.
making some money and shacking up with Jennifer Lopez and that nice sweet spot? How about that nice sweet spot?
She's a no-talent pig.
Money.
And he's a rat.
Suge would go back to prison for 3 years to end up with one night with Jennifer Lopez.
I don't think so.
He'll go to jail for 3 years for one night with J-Lo.
So.
Come on.
He's a mouth-breathing cipher.
Every breath you take, that's not a great song?
A mouth...
Yeah, if it's not his song.
That's not his song.
Oh, so what?
What do you mean, so what? It's not his song.
Will Smith also did a bunch of songs, but he's still great.
Don't compare Will Smith.
It's the same thing.
You're an embarrassment.
All right, I'll do this right now. I will admit that Suge is better than P. Diddy.
Yeah.
On one condition.
Yeah.
And that is that you tell me 3 of Suge Knight's songs.
Oh, no, Suge doesn't. Suge,
well, I know he manages all these people.
Suge defined hip-hop, him and Dre, with the Chronic back in the early 90s. What are you talking about? So Suge discovered. What do you think? You believe this? What do you think Snoop came from? Where do you think all those people came from? From Suge Knight, you moron.
Well, just because they came from doesn't mean that somebody's better than he is now.
No. Suge is not. You don't see, like Suge said, you don't see some Clive Davis or Tommy Mottola dancing around shaking their ass in their own videos, do you?
No.
No, the answer is no.
Why not?
Because they got too much dignity.
Oh,
Suge's a businessman.
Yeah.
He's not a punk.
What kind of business and dignity did he have when he was taking it up in Rikers the last 3 years?
Oh, well, yeah.
Talk to me about dignity then. Please, I beg of you, please.
You are a disgraceful human being. Get out of my face. Back to Snoop for a second. I read someplace where he said, with your impending release from prison, he's hired extra security. Does he need it?
Well, I was looking at it like that. See, Snoop got a bitch mentality. I said that before.
Yeah.
A bitch mentality in the ghetto, if a guy go to prison, the bitch gonna run around and have fun. So I said that's why Snoop jumped ship so many times. And then the bitch mentality comes back around and the bitch say, oh, I know I've been saying bad things about, Big Daddy, so when he comes, he might slap the shit out of me, so let me hide and hire security, but I'm not even on that page. I'm about taking care of the kids, taking Death Row to a higher level, doing movies, doing bigger and better things. I'm not even going backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, even this situation where Lil Bow Wow is signed to Death Row. And then Snoop goes around and say, he found Lil Bow Wow, he hit him out and sent it to Jermaine Dupri. Everybody know, anybody with any sense know that's a lie, but Snoop, if you let us tell us anything, you're going to think we're all idiots. On the simple fact that he can't even around fix his own contract. How you going to fix the next one? But it's a situation where Jermaine Dupri knows he was signed to Death Row. They know who discovered him. I'm quite sure Jermaine Dupri going to be a gentleman, and we're going to sit down when I get home, and we're going to put the difference aside and I'm going to get the money I invested in him and to get my issue was on. And I'm quite sure the man Dupree don't want to be on his back.
Yeah, time to bring your ass to the table, y'all. Bringing it live, East Coast, West Coast, throwing it up ghetto style. While all these other rappers just frontin', cause they ain't nothing but Richard Simmons in a Kango. From the S to the double OP, double D, Snoop Dogg in the house on the J.O.B. 8 million stories in the big city, but no pity for Puff Diddy, that brother is flitty. Jay-Z caught with a pea shooter, Puppy get arrested on a faggot-ass scooter. Slim Shady think he living large, but when they gotta step up, plead to a lesser charge. Death row out on parole. Well, for the past 5 years, I had his mama on the stroll. The bitch know I ain't faking jack. Got her $20 a night, ain't bad for a hunchback. Treat them other rappers like punk-ass prostitute. Pimp slap them bitches while I count my loot. I get respect everywhere that I go. Ask the bitches in your hood, cause they know. Suge, please, you messing with the old double G. Taking a rap, I won't be copping no please. In my pocket, I got 500 G's. So get down on your M&F knees. Bitch, please. Y'all might as well submit, give up and quit. So long as I'm dropping the gangs, the shit's lit. Snoop Dogg be open up the anties when all your other rappers run around wearing pink panties. Go on living in denial while I show you how it's done as I do it Doggy style. Different strokes for different folks. I'm balling in a Beamer while you riding in a Volks. Only way you drive a Lincoln Continental is go down to Enterprise and get yourself a rental. I'm sorry, but I got no sympathy. So if Suge, you wanna step to me, get the best of me. This just a tip, wait till you see the rest of me. Suge, please, you messing with the old double G. Taking a rap, but I ain't copping no please. So get down on your M&F knees. Bitch, please, Suge, please. In my pocket, I got 500 G's. Got my hand on my Jimmy and I squeeze. Go back to school and get your GEDs. Bitch, please. Snoop Dogg laying it down, doggy style. And if you wanna bring it, Suge, you know where my crib is.
Come along and take a hit from the bone. Put the blunt down just for a second. Don't get me wrong, it's not a new method. Inhale, exhale. Just got an ounce in the mail. I like a blunt or a big fat cone, but my double barrel bong is getting me stoned. Don't spill it, there's water inside, don't spill it. It smells like on the carpet, still it. Smoke that bowl, hit the bong, and then take that finger off of that hole. Plug it, unplug it, don't strain. I love you, Mary Jane. Imus in the morning.
For years, you've heard that a 15-minute call to Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance. But what happens if...
Are you his first wife?
Yes.
And only wife?
Yes.
Okay.
First and only, all right.
Amen.
First time, long time.
I would love to see one of you guys slap the ass out of that whiny-ass so-called sportscaster. That could be easily happening. Just say one more thing to irritate me.
Could be talking about Warner.
Sid was great today. He's a funny guy. Keep up the good work. Well, we
see that. Sid's on the computer again.
Sitting out there with nothing to do.
Yep, no doubt.
Imus, before giving that fat, phony gangster Suge Knight oral, at least take out your teeth so he gets full and shots. That's ugly.
That is not good.
That's how that doesn't make me look good.
No.
Makes me look like Suge's bitch. Well, it makes me look like.
The condom fits.
Come on, that's not right. Come on.
You know what's really interesting is that the MSNBC has been promoting the Suge Knight interview for 2 days, and then they cut away for a story that no other cable or news channel is even covering. Judith Miller should be tried in a military tribunal. She was a woman from the New York Times on yesterday. She is a communist, a Clinton-sympathizing whore.
Unlike Monica, she swallows.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's good. I like that.
Well, this is ugly.
Yeah, that's
good stuff.
I mean, it gets worse. I can't even read what it says.
How to get worse than
Well,
that?
you just don't need to. I don't even want you to see it. I want you to be as a God-fearing, Christian. I don't want you to have to see that.
Possibly go.
Well, it went good way. It got ugly. Got down below the belt. So Juan Gonzalez, who's he now?
Let me just say this, Imus. This sports report is brought to you by the state of Connecticut and tobacco-free CT.com, your link to a healthier Connecticut. Juan Gonzalez was supposed to come to the Mets In fact, last week he even said to the Met fans, you're going to be very happy next week when I become a member of the Mets. So all the Met fans were under the impression he was going to be here. And he, essentially, he screwed the Mets, and now he signed a 2-year deal with the Texas Rangers. That's exactly what's happening.
For $1 million less.
For $1 million less.
What position does he play?
He's a left fielder.
Afraid to come to New York, afraid to play on a big stage.
You got it, on the money. He's afraid.
Any of these chumps can play in any of these little burgs, and that includes L.A., by the way.
Yeah.
And any other chump city in the country.
That's right.
But,
because the
you got to
Yankees...
come to New York and play on a big stage, and if you can't deal with it, then don't come. Go to Texas.
A couple of years ago, the Yankees actually were about to acquire Juan Gonzalez in a trade, and he wussed out then also.
Yeah.
He don't want to play here because this is the big town.
Yeah.
Too many Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, well, that's,
New York. Like the Jets this weekend, the Raiders? Raiders are my team, of
I know
course,
they're your team, I like the Raiders this weekend.
Yeah, well.
It's actually funny because even though I have, as you well know, mainly because of you, I've retired from my old days of
gambling.
Thank you.
You had a monkey on your back.
A monkey?
Yeah,
King Kong.
Yeah. You had a real gambling problem.
Well, it didn't go well. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But the Raiders are favored by 3.5 over the Jets last week. The Jets beat the Raiders last week, and for some reason today the Raiders are favored by 4.5.
Right.
The line actually went up a point because it seems so improbable that the Jets would go to Oakland 2 weeks in a row and beat the Raiders again. I like your Raiders. I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Don't count them completely out, but I think the score will be 38-7 Raiders.
Wow! No, that may be a bit much. The Jets just beat them last week, 38-7. What do you think it's going to be?
I said 38-7.
All right, well.
Didn't you hear him?
I thought that you didn't understand.
Well, I just wasn't sure. That seems like an old.
How dare you second-guess the Iron Man?
No, I'm not second-guessing the Iron Man. Believe me.
What the hell do you think you're...
I have learned, Bernard, through this football season that there are few football minds in this town, in this country, that compare to the Iron Man.
Yeah, right.
All he does every week is pick winners. That's all he does.
That's all I do.
Now, the only thing I do have to discuss with you is...
I should gamble instead of doing all that cocaine for so many years.
You're exactly right.
Drinking vodka.
Yeah, well, you could have done all three, actually.
You had the wrong Jones.
Hey,
In fact, I could have been doing cocaine, drinking vodka.
Yeah.
And gambling.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. Then you,
the little boys.
Then you would have been me.
All that? I'm going to come in there and slap you in the mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Get your nose out of Suge's butt for a second.
Sugar's my man. Leave me and Suge alone.
He threatened Vanilla Ice,
But you know what he should have done? If it's true, he denies it. But if it's true that he was holding Vanilla Ice by his ankles out of a window, you know what he should have done? Dropped him.
Oh, come on.
Oh, man. Vanilla Ice. Get out of here.
Just admit one thing right now. You got that song on your iPod as we speak.
You know something? I would commit suicide if I had... I am so offended. Even back in the days when I was in high school, and Pat Boone was ripping off Fats Domino and Little Richard.
You shouldn't tell anybody that.
At least. Why?
Let's sneak it into the iPod.
Pat Boone.
They
Are
had
you kidding
records
me?
back
Okay. At least Pat Boone didn't try to sound black.
Well, what are you trying to say? Vanilla Ice did, though. He actually did a good job of it.
No. Yeah, but if I were black, I'd be, and I'm serious, I would be offended.
By Vanilla Ice?
By Kid Rock, by Eminem, by all of these white rappers. Let them do their own thing.
Donnie Imus just brought you the Kid Rock album. You loved it.
I like the country stuff on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Eminem had some great stuff.
In fact, he's got another thing. I heard Drunk in the Morning. I was at the gym yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Kid Rock, Drunk in the Morning.
How was that?
That's good.
Yeah, he's pretty good, Kid Rock.
That was ripping you off.
What was the song called?
Midnight Train to Memphis. And the thing he did with Sheryl Crow, that's unfortunate.
No, that was god
But my point is,
terrible.
White rappers should sound white or whatever. They shouldn't sound. I think it's offensive.
If you grow up in the projects or amongst black people,
like Bernard did,
you tend to pick up some of the lingo and the dialect and the slang and whatever. And that's perfectly natural.
I grew up. I went till I went to high school.
Yeah.
Almost till I went to the Marine Corps.
You lived on a ranch where there's nobody around you.
No. But before that, in grammar school, in your very formative early years, half of the population of the school where I went was black. I never heard the N-word. I never heard anybody use the N-word other than reading it. And
if you grew up around black kids in the project, you hear the N-word every other
But this is
word.
not in the 50s.
No, but it's not
But
the
I'm
same
talking
thing.
about I had never heard it used in a disparaging form until I went in the Marine Corps.
Really?
I was in the Marine Corps when I heard one black guy say to another black guy, use the N-word. That's the first time I had ever heard that even.
Wow. What year
I
was
was
that?
17 years old.
What year was that, I mean? Probably the 50s, you're saying? Or maybe the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
So you heard the N-word in boot camp, and you lost your virginity in boot camp.
Now you're gonna lose your virginity here in about 5 minutes as soon as Suge gets here. Yeah, you're gonna be me and Suge's bitch. That's what you're gonna be.
See, I don't got a big problem with that. I think that if you're gonna do rap, you're supposed to sound like a rapper.
Well,
I mean, that's what it's supposed
offensive.
to. Vanilla Ice that song was good.
Ice, Ice Baby?
Ice, Ice Baby. Yeah, you know the song.
Oh, man.
It's on the iPod.
I know the song because it's my job to know the song.
Well, no, it's a good song.
Eminem stuff was fantastic.
Come on, it was a the Queen song. How big could it be? Pressure, under pressure. You know that song, I mean.
Get the hell out of my studio before I have to be murdered.
As a country, we...